Welcome back to VL Extras, the segment where we share the untold stories of tech's greatest pioneers, disruptors, and innovators. On this channel, Visual Learners, we bring you stories that not only inform but inspire. What are the odds that two of the most influential figures in the semiconductor industry, both Taiwanese by birth, raised in the United States, and deeply passionate about technology, would end up leading rival companies? These distant cousins share a heritage, a passion for technology, and an uncanny ability to transform challenges into triumphs. And yet, they've charted distinct paths, carving out rival empires in one of the most cutthroat industries in the world. This is the story of Jensen Huang and Lisa Su, their incredible journeys from humble beginnings to leading some of the most valuable companies on the planet. Jensen Huang was born in Taiwan in 1963 to parents whose dreams and aspirations would become the foundation for his future success. His father, a chemical engineer, and his mother, a grade school teacher, were ambitious and forward-thinking, deeply valuing education and the opportunities it could provide. Jensen often credits his parents for instilling in him the discipline and curiosity that would later define his career. His father's career brought the family to Thailand, but as political turmoil swept the region in the early 1970s, they made a life-altering decision. 9-year-old Jensen and his brother were sent to the United States to live with their uncle. What should have been a path to academic success took an unexpected turn when the boys were mistakenly enrolled in the Oneida Baptist Institute in the mountains of Kentucky, a reformatory school known for accepting students rejected by other institutions. Despite its reputation, the school became a crucible for Jensen's character. It was here, surrounded by challenges and discipline, that he began to cultivate resilience. Years later, Jensen would reflect on these formative experiences with gratitude, recognizing that even the most unconventional environments could shape a person's future. The family later reunited in Oregon, where Jensen completed high school and met his future wife, Lori Mills, at Oregon State University. After earning a degree in electrical engineering, Jensen pursued a master's at Stanford, setting the stage for his entry into the tech industry. Huang's career began at AMD and LSI Logic, where he honed his skills and built the technical expertise that would define his legacy. But Jensen was more than just an engineer, he was a visionary. On his 30th birthday, sitting in a Denny's restaurant with two friends, Chris Malachowski and Curtis Preem, he sketched the blueprint for NVIDIA on a napkin at a Denny's. It was the same Denny's where he had once worked as a waiter to make ends meet. "I was introverted, but being a waiter taught me to face challenges and own mistakes," Jensen once reflected. They saw the future of computing in the burgeoning world of graphics. At a time when high-performance GPUs were almost unheard of, they gambled on an idea that would revolutionize gaming, professional visualization, and eventually artificial intelligence. The gamble paid off. Over the years, NVIDIA rose to dominate the GPU market, with its graphics cards becoming synonymous with high-performance computing. As gaming grew into a global phenomenon and cryptocurrency created new demands for computational power, NVIDIA stayed ahead of the curve. Today, Jensen's bold moves have positioned NVIDIA as a leader in the generative AI boom, with its GPUs forming the backbone of machine learning models. In May 2023, NVIDIA's market value surpassed $1 trillion, making it the first semiconductor company to achieve this milestone. Jensen himself, once a shy and introverted boy, is now a billionaire with a personal net worth exceeding $1.04 trillion.
In the competitive world of graphics processing, NVIDIA's star continues to rise.
And as a leading graphics chip maker, NVIDIA is obviously doing something right.
NVIDIA has the momentum right now. It's going to be a while, I think, before anybody really catches up.
They're out to win. Coming back, Jensen has a very, very strong desire to win, and that's one of the reasons he drives the company the way he does, is that he has that goal in mind.
up in Asia in the tropics. There were no apples. And I remember a lot about Thailand. I remember that I loved to climb.
He likes to pick these challenges that just go on and on, right?
I was a rambunctious kid. I was always pushing my boundaries. I was always doing something that was on the border of naughty.
We had a vision for NVIDIA that we could be the most important, the most relevant 3D graphics company in the world. That was a bold thing coming from three guys working out of a condo in Fremont.
Always a straight A student, always did my homework before I went out, but I was always pushing the boundaries. I think a little bit of that kind of, that's who I am today. I'm always slightly pushing the boundaries, pushing the company's boundaries, pushing the industry's boundaries, and then that's kind of how I grew up in Thailand. In 1973, I think I was 9 years old. My older brother was 10. There was an upheaval. Military was tanks and soldiers were marching down the middle of the street. People were shooting each other, and so my parents felt that it was probably best to send us to the United States to live with our uncle. Shortly after, they sent us to Kentucky Oneida Baptist Institute, and Oneida Baptist Institute turns out to have been quite a special school, and I knew something was wrong when we checked in, and my first sign that this was a different school was the entire ground was covered with cigarette butts. It was just cigarettes everywhere. I've never seen that many cigarette butts, and so the entire ground was covered with cigarette butts. My second indication that something was going to be a little different was my roommate. I mean, I was expecting a roommate about my age. Turns out my roommate was 17 years old, getting ready for bed. I noticed that he had all these fresh wounds, and he had just come from the hospital. He was in a fight. He had 7 stab wounds, and the other kid was killed. And so he was my roommate. And so that was kind of the beginning of my American experience, if you will. And I loved it. I loved every moment of Oneida.
So this is actually Denny's.
Yeah. Wow. So I learned about pigs in a blanket at Denny's.
That is exactly what you're doing.
This is exactly how I eat pancakes.
Okay.
To this very day.
Do you like the shake?
I hated shakes because I hated making it.
I love that.
Nothing kills me more than when somebody orders a shake. I usually say, "Are you sure?"
You tried. What are you convincing them to go get?
Just to get a Coke.
Across the tech spectrum, another Taiwanese-born prodigy was making waves. Lisa Su was born in 1969 in Taiwan and immigrated to the United States as a young child. From an early age, Lisa showed an insatiable curiosity about how things worked. By the age of 10, she was disassembling and fixing her brother's remote control cars, a precursor to the meticulous engineering mindset that would later drive her success. Lisa's family settled in New York City, where she attended the prestigious Bronx High School of Science. It was here, amidst a community of aspiring scientists and engineers, that her passion for technology deepened. Lisa's academic journey took her to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, where she pursued degrees in electrical engineering. She would go on to earn not 1, not 2, but 3 degrees from MIT, including a PhD, making her one of the most accomplished engineers of her generation. Her professional career began with roles at Texas Instruments, IBM, and Freescale Semiconductor, where she combined technical expertise with strategic acumen. In 2012, Lisa joined AMD, a company struggling to stay afloat in a highly competitive market. 2 years later, she became AMD's CEO, the first woman to lead a major semiconductor company. At the time, AMD's future looked bleak, but Lisa's leadership turned the tide. Through bold innovation and a relentless focus on high-performance computing, she spearheaded the development of AMD's Ryzen processors, which challenged Intel's dominance in the CPU market. Under her watch, AMD's market capitalization grew from $3 billion to over $200 billion, and in 2024, the company overtook Intel in market value for the first time. Despite their shared heritage and industry, Jensen Huang and Lisa Su are often described as opposites. Jensen, the charismatic showman, thrives on his ability to see decades into the future. Lisa, the methodical engineer, excels at solving today's problems with precision. Yet both share an unrelenting drive to push the boundaries of what technology can achieve. Their companies, NVIDIA and AMD, are now locked in a rivalry that fuels innovation across the tech landscape. NVIDIA's GPUs dominate AI and machine learning, while AMD's CPUs lead the charge in high-performance computing for the masses. The AI chip wars have only heightened their competition, with each company vying for supremacy in a rapidly evolving market. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of their story is not their rivalry, but their legacy. As distant cousins, Jensen Huang and Lisa Su remind us of the power of shared heritage and ambition. As leaders, they inspire a generation of engineers and innovators. And as pioneers, they continue to shape the future of technology in ways that will be felt for decades to come.
One of the things that's really helped me a lot is I love solving problems. And I believe, in engineering, you can always solve a problem. And I think that's actually true in business as well. My name is Lisa Su, and I'm CEO of AMD.
Lisa Su is the CEO of AMD. She's an MIT PhD, she's a Taiwanese immigrant, and she really saved this historic Silicon Valley company, bringing it back from the dead and making it one of the most important chip companies in the industry.
I was born in Taiwan, and I came to the US when I was 2 with my parents. And growing up, my father used to quiz me with math tables at the dining room table. So that's how I first got into math. And when I was young, I liked to actually take things apart. My brother had a toy remote-controlled car, and it stopped working. And I was wondering, why did it stop working? And so I opened it up, tried to see what was going on, and there was like a wire that was loose, and we were able to get it back working again by putting it back together. I went to the Bronx High School of Science in New York, and I was surrounded by people who loved math and science and technology. I will say there was a part of me that wanted to be a concert pianist, but I don't think I was good enough to do that, so I ended up being an engineer. What I was really inspired by when I was a freshman at MIT is I went into a semiconductor line for the first time, and I saw how you made chips, and that was just so cool to me. That's really how I ended up being in semiconductors, having a summer job when I was a first-year college student. I was at IBM in the mid-90s. We were working at the forefront of semiconductor devices. Semiconductors were so interesting to me. I mean, I love the idea that you could, really make something that works. All of these transistors, these tiny little things that you could really put together in a chip. And so we worked on some of the newest innovations, things like copper interconnects, and new ways to make devices faster and less power and denser. In those days, people always said, is Moore's law ending? Are we not going to be able to make devices smaller? And so much of the challenge was how could we keep increasing performance and increasing capability while also making these devices smaller so we could put more transistors on a single chip. So that was the key thing, and we had a great team that was working on that. I joined AMD in 2012. I always knew about AMD as an important company in the industry, and it was an opportunity to work on a bigger platform. So I was very interested in joining AMD. There are a lot of things happening at that point in time. There was this whole revolution of where were PCs going, what was happening in mobile phones, what was going to be the next big tech going on. So I wanted to be at a company that really would work at the bleeding edge of technology.
When Sue came into the role, she had this really gargantuan task ahead of her. The company's stock had plummeted, a quarter of the workforce had been laid off, and she's really been able to pull off one of the greatest turnarounds in Silicon Valley history. Sue really boiled down her turnaround strategy to 3 things: building great products, focusing on customer relations, and the third thing is simplifying the company. So focusing on strengths like PC chips and data centers.
In the early days when I joined AMD, it was actually about getting customers and large partners to trust us and trust that we could develop the best technology in the world and that they could trust their roadmaps and their business with our technology. What I would say is, look, it's going to take us 5 years, but we will be best in class in the industry, and we're going to do it in these 3 steps with our new Zen architecture and our new microprocessors. And so it really is about a track record and doing what you say you're going to do and ensuring that we meet our commitments.
The people who know her also point to this unique mix of technical ability and people skills. And that's kind of what's driven her success. Being able to bring people together, problem solve, and focus on more than just the business.
What I've really enjoyed about being an engineer is really building products. That's what I love in life. It's really, how do you build great products? How do you see where your products go and, really make the world a better place? And the role of a CEO, that's one piece of it. That's not all pieces of it. We have many stakeholders. We have our employees, we have our board, our shareholders, our partners. And so it's really balancing not just the technology, but also balancing and ensuring that, we are really meeting all of our stakeholders' expectations. The thing about semiconductors and developing chips is you really do have to make bets 3 to 5 years in advance, and you have to think about, okay, where is the industry going, and how are we going to bring sort of new ideas to an industry that really has lots and lots of great companies and lots of smart people. So at AMD we spend a lot of time thinking about where is technology going in the future, what's going to be really important, what are the limiting factors, and how do we do something that nobody else can do. I've been in the semiconductor industry for the last 30 years, and sort of in the beginning people didn't really understand what semiconductors were for. They were kind of like underneath the surface. You knew something about chips and something about computers, but not exactly why they were important. I think what's been amazing over the last few decades, and especially even over the last 3 or 4 years, people now understand that semiconductors are essential. Like, you need chips in everything that you do, in every part of your life, in every part of the business, in every part of how we deliver, great healthcare and, great technology and great capabilities. And I think that's what makes it cool, is that, semiconductors are now something that everyone thinks about as being super important for our daily lives. We love seeing our products and technologies really make a difference in everyone's lives. I'm not sure I'm ready to talk about legacy. I think we have a lot to do right now to continue pushing the envelope on technology.